All right, so we are officially live. Welcome, everyone. I am Robert, the AP Math Guy, and tonight we are going to be talking about mean value theorem. As you join in, let's go ahead and start hitting those hearts. Hopefully everyone's had a good Thursday evening. Oh, I have. I just got done watching the Arizona-Seattle game. That was pretty good. Thought it was going to go into overtime for a little bit. So yeah, welcome on in, everyone. Yeah, sorry about missing yesterday. For some reason, I was just really tired, and I needed to take the not go live last night, but I am back tonight. So, what are we going over tonight? Well, we went over L'Hopital's rule on Tuesday, so we'll go ahead and check that off the list. And today we are going to do mean value theorem. So, let's go ahead and, like I said, let's go ahead and hit those hearts. Let's do a quick mad tap, see if we can't let's see if we can't get to 500 likes before the first problem. I'm going to go ahead and click the button that waves to people, but in case I can't click that button, I'm going to go ahead and wave at you now. Hi, everyone. So yeah, welcome, everyone. Thank you for the likes. Hi, Supa. How's it going? How's it going? So tomorrow, I'm going to be So I've been talking about doing a second live, and I think I found a time, but I need to check one more time. But tomorrow I should have an idea of when that second live will be. As I click on people's names, and or should I say, if I should, as I click on people to wave at them, hey Brandsy, how's it going? How is it going? Go ahead and put this at full screen. Here we go. Not too much. Took my Calc 3 exam yesterday. Okay, how'd it go? How'd it go, Brandsy? Hopefully it went well. It went pretty good. There are only like 2 questions that got me though, but the rest was good. That's great. That's awesome, Brandsy. I'm sure these that yeah we all have those. Sometimes there are questions that trip us up, but you know what? You did a good job. I'm sure. But yeah, cool. I'm gonna give people a couple more moments to join in before I get started. Thanks. Most of the questions that I studied were oh, that's that's really perfect. So you were prepared for them then. Yeah, so I'm just quickly waving at people. as we get more people in here. Welcome on in, everyone. I'll update you on what I got on it. No grade yet. Okay, I'm really looking forward to seeing how you did. I'm sorry to hear that, Solera. I'm really sorry to hear that. Was it like was it close to passing or was it like bad? Thank you for the 7 roses, Josh. But yeah. Yeah, so the important thing, Solera, is that it's still the beginning of a semester, so you still have plenty of time to get that grade back up. Um, I remember differential equations was really a struggle of mine too. Um, yeah, and that's the thing. Sometimes, I mean, I've failed tests before. But the thing is, don't quit yet. You just got started, and you're gonna remember. It's not about how you start; it's how you finish. You failed your first Calc 2 exam. Yeah, you'll be okay. Was it like were you close to passing, or was it like a not good? Oh wow. Okay. Well, it's just one test. Maybe, maybe Leon, maybe that's the case. But you know what? You got to pick yourself up and move forward. It's just like that. It's just one test. Yes. Now I have to study even harder for the next test. I'm walking exactly. That's exactly how you look at it. Put that for people that failed their tests, most recent tests. Put that behind you. It's now behind you. Keep moving forward. Absolutely, Brandy. That's absolutely right. Thank you, Leon. You're most certainly welcome. Thank you, Leon, for the follow. But yeah, so um, yeah, I had my organic chemistry exam today. I felt better about that. I answered everything. Okay, cool. It's really cool. When I took Calc 2, I failed the third exam and locked in for a final exam. But exactly, and that's the thing. One test is not. You can't. You are not going to You're not going to fail the class on one test. It's like it's like in sports. Teams don't give up the moment after if they lose pretty badly. They move on to the next game, and that's what you have to do. Learn learn from your mistakes and move on to the next game. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Thank you, Essence, for the follow. I think at this point, I last I checked, I'm 187 followers away from 2K. So my goal is to get that by the end of the month. Let's see if we do it. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the mean value theorem. So what is the mean value theorem? So the mean value theorem relates the instantaneous rate of change of a function to the average rate of change on an interval. So, the mean value theorem says the following. If f of x is continuous on the closed interval a comma b, and if f of x is differentiable on the open interval ab, then there exists a point C, and I think it's a closed interval, open interval. On the open interval a comma b, such that the following is true, such that f prime of c is equal to the f of change in y over change in x. So if f is continuous on AB, on the closed interval AB, and f is differentiable on the open interval, then there exists a point C on AB on the open interval such that f prime of C is equal to f of b minus f of a over b minus a. So what does that look like? So here is what it looks like. So let me go ahead and draw, or attempt to draw. Let's say that I have a function that looks like this. Let's say this is f of a. Let's say this is a comma f of a. And this is b comma f of b. Then there will exist, and this is a secant line. So there will exist a point C somewhere in between here, such that the instantaneous rate of change at C is going to equal the slope of the secant line. And we'll say that that's here. So that has about the same. If I draw a tangent line at that value, it looks like it's kind of parallel to, or actually that's not even close to the tangent line, so let me try again. Yeah. So, what does it mean for a function to be continuous and differentiable? So f of x is continuous on the closed interval. That just means that there's no breaks in the function between a and b inclusive. So remember the rule about continuity is that if I can draw my function without lifting my pencil, then the function is continuous in that interval. But what does it mean to be differentiable? So it means that the function doesn't have the tangent line can be drawn on that open interval. So thank you, JC, for the follow. So here we're looking for any place where the derivative can't exist. So like cusps or waves. And So if a function is differentiable, it's automatically continuous because differentiability implies continuity, but continuity does not imply differentiability. And that's important to remember. So let's go ahead and try a few different examples of our mean value theorem. Thank you, Chief, for the follow. So, here's our first example. So, let's say I have y equals negative x squared plus 8x minus 17. And I want to find c in the interval 3 to 6. All right, so first, we have to check for... Thank you, Vero, is a problem for the follow. So first, we have to check our two conditions. So we have to check for continuity and differentiability. Well, here, in order for this to be not continuous, we're looking for either holes or vertical asymptotes or anything like that. Well, this is just a regular parabola. So do we agree or disagree that this function will be continuous everywhere? What do you think? Thank you, Max, for the follow. Yeah, Jay, that's right. So we agree. That's right, it is continuous, Blue Trash Panda. So this is continuous everywhere because it's a parabola. Is it differentiable everywhere? Or is it or more importantly, is it differentiable in our interval? What do you think? Jay says yes. Alan says yes, it is. Blue Trash Panda says for real, for real. Yeah, it absolutely is. Why? Because the derivative will... the reason why it's differentiable is because it will... I can draw a tangent line for every point between 3 and 6. So, we have continuity, which we can check off. So, is it continuous on the closed interval 3 to 6? Yes. Thank you, Shell, for the follow. And then, is it differentiable? Differentiable on the open interval. Yes, it is. So because these two things are true, then now we can use the mean value theorem. So we're going to find... we want to find c such that this is true. So f prime of c is going to equal f of 6 minus f of 3 all over 6 minus 3. So let's plug in 6 and 3 into our function and see what we get. So f of 3 is going to equal negative 3 squared plus 8 times 3 minus 17. 3 squared is 9 times negative 1 is negative 9. So I have negative 9 plus 8 times 3, so that's 24. Negative 9 plus 24. Negative 9 plus 24 minus 17. Negative 9 plus 24 gives me 13. And 13 minus 17 gives me negative 4. Now, let's plug in f of 6. So, f of 6 is going to equal negative 6 squared plus 8 times 6 minus 17. Negative 6 squared, so 6 squared is 36, times negative 1 is negative 36. plus 8 times 6 is 48 minus 17. Negative 36 plus 48 is negative 12. And negative 12 minus 17, no, I mean, not negative 12, positive 12. Positive 12 minus 17 is negative 5. So, from here, now I have my f of 6 and my f of 3. So now I'm ready to plug it into the formula. So f prime of c is going to equal f of 6, which is negative 5, minus our negative 4, all over 6 minus 3. Negative 5 minus a negative 4, well, that's negative 5 plus 4, so that's going to be negative 1 over 3. So we know that at some value c, the slope is going to be negative 1/3. So now from here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to find the derivative of that function and plug in negative 1/3 as our into that. All right, so let me go ahead and quickly read through the comments. Squeeze theorem explanation 1. So I actually already did a live on squeeze theorem. So you can find that here. So if you go to this site and you go here, you'll be able to find that live on squeeze theorem. Can you do an integral problem next? So we're actually not going to get to integrals until probably sometime in the next couple weeks. Do you ever go through trig functions? I'm having trouble in pre-calc. Yep. So trig functions are going to be, so I'm going to be doing a second live. So when we get to that, so that live is going to focus more on the pre-calc stuff. So be on the lookout for that. When are you going to get to vector magnitude? That's going to be a little while. I still have the rest of Calc 1 and Calc 2 to go through before I get there. I'll set a reminder to join your live again. Okay, awesome, Alan. Thank you, XRXPR, for the follow. All right, so now, am I a teacher or professor? I used to teach. I don't teach in the classroom anymore, but I am a tutor. So now, I'm going to take the derivative of this function. So let's go ahead and take that derivative. What would the derivative of that function be? What is the derivative of negative x squared plus 8x minus 17? Jesus says negative 2x. Alan says negative 2x plus 8. Lucas says negative 2x plus 8. For any quadratic function over an interval of point c always lands at the midpoint. Good to know. Joyce says negative 2x plus 8. Yeah, that's exactly right. For f of 3, I got negative 2. Did I do that right? So negative 3 all squared. 3 all squared is 9. Times negative 1 is 9. Or negative 9. 8 times 3 is 24. Minus 17. Negative 9 plus 24 is the same as 24 minus 9, which is 13. 13 minus 7, I still get negative 4. So, here, yeah, the derivative, remember, I'm going to use power rule. And what does power rule say? Power rule says that if I have x raised to the nth power, I take my its derivative. In order to find the derivative, I take my exponent, move it out front, and multiply it by whatever coefficient's in front, and subtract 1 from the exponent. So the derivative of negative x squared take the 2, move it out front, and multiply by that -1. So I have -2 times x to the 2 minus 1, which is x to the first. And remember, a variable without an x on it is the same as that variable raised to the first. And then I can use that here. So I take my exponent, move it out front, and multiply it by 8. So I have plus 8. And I have x to the 1 minus 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. And remember that x to the 0 is equal to 1. Thank you, Janina, for sharing the live. So this is the same as 8 times 1, which is 8. And then, the derivative of -17, because there's no variable next to it, this is a constant. So the derivative of a constant is 0. So my derivative ends up being -2x plus 8. So now I'm going to take my -1/3 and plug it in for y prime and solve for x. So -1/3 is equal to -2x plus 8. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and subtract 8 from both sides. So this is the same as 24 over 3. So this is going to be -1/3 minus 24 over 3. So that's going to be -25 over 3 is equal to -2x. Thank you, Frog, for sharing the live. Now I'm going to divide. No, I did something wrong. Did I? Let's find out. Divide both sides by -2. By negatives. So I get 25 over 6 is equal to x. But it's not that, is it? Nope. It's not. It should be 9 halves. So where did I mess up? So -3. So that, I think, is right. -6. So that's... Where did I go wrong? Alright. So f of 3 is -3 squared plus 8 times 3 minus 17. 3 squared is 9 times -1. Nope, because of this negative out front. So if this negative were inside the parentheses, then it would be -3 all squared. But because it's outside, so the only thing being raised to the second is 3. Wait, isn't -9 plus 24 minus 17 supposed to equal -2? Let's find out. Let's bring out the calculator. So, clear. -9 plus 24 minus 17. Why do I get -4? Oh! Duh. -9 plus 24 is -13. It's 15. Yep. That's 2. You're right. This is -2. So -2 minus a -4 is the same. Yep. Okay. From here, let's try again. 2/3 is equal to negative 2x plus 8. Subtract 8 from both sides. 2/3 minus 24 over the third, 24 thirds, that's negative 22 over 3 is equal to negative 2x. Multiply both sides by 3 instead. I could do that. It's not, I don't think it's going to make a difference, but yeah, I can do that. So let's multiply both sides by 3, so I get 2 equals negative 6x plus 24. Subtract 24 from both sides. I get negative 22 equals negative 6x. Divide both sides by negative 6. I still get x equals 11 over 3. But that's not the answer either. What math is this? This is calculus. Now where did I go wrong? What math is this? This is calculus. Oh, so, I'm sorry, I don't. That's okay, Young. Don't be sorry. Your algebra is right. It must be your beginning equation. Yeah. So the answer ends up being 9/2. And that would make sense because 11/3 isn't in our interval. Oh, wait, yes, it is. Do I have a degree? I do. I have a bachelor's in math. Currently working on implicit differentiation of logarithmic and exponential functions. Okay. Hmm. Where did I go wrong here? Derivatives right. Thank you, FGB, for the follow. So here's our function. And here's our derivative. The derivative of negative x squared is negative 2x. I think it's the formula Sn. The derivative of 8x is just 8. Correct. That's what I have here. Yeah, no problem. Oh. You're right. You're absolutely right, Josh. Alright. You know what? Let's try this problem again. Let's start this problem again clean. So, y equals negative x squared plus 8x minus 17. Okay. Is it continuous? Yes. Is it differentiable? Yes. So, I have to include my interval. So, f of 3 is equal to negative 3 squared plus 8 times 3 minus 17. 3 squared is 9, and so that's going to be negative 9, plus 24 minus 17 is equal to negative 2. Negative 9 minus 20, 24 minus 9 is 15. 15 minus 17 is negative 2. Then f of 6 is going to be negative 6 squared plus 8 times 6 minus 17. That's going to be 6 squared is 36 times negative 1 is negative 36. 8 times 6 is 48 minus 17. Negative 36 plus 48 is 12. 12 minus 17 is negative 5. Okay. F prime of C is equal to negative 5 minus a negative 2 all over 6 minus 3. Negative 5 minus a negative 2 is the same as negative 5 plus 2, so that's going to be negative 3 over 3, which is negative 1. So, now we take the derivative. So y prime is equal to negative 2x plus 8. And then from here, now I plug in negative 1 into here, negative 2x plus 8. Yep, here we go. If I subtract 8 from both sides, I get negative 9 is equal to negative 2x. Divide both sides by negative 2. There we go. X equals 9 halves. Or should I say C equals 9 halves? There we go. It only took us 37 minutes, but we finally got it. Any questions on that one? Do matrices. Matrices are already on my list. But it's going to be a little while before we get there. Do you think everyone has their own way of learning 4 subjects? Are you talking like math, science, history, English, or are you talking like 4 math topics at the same time? Do you do high-level maths like differential equations? So on top of calculus, I also do differential equations and linear algebra. Do vector calculus. We are a bit away from that, Ron. But tonight, I'm just going to focus on mean value theorem. But we're going to be in vector calculus probably sometime in, I would probably say, December. Yes, 4 different subjects. Okay, so, This looks interesting. What is this? This is mean value theorem. All right, back to your question, Young. So really, it comes down to time management and organization. So this looks like Calc 3. Nope, this is Calc 1. This is just Calc 1. All right. Is Calc 1 and Calc 3 similar? So Calc 3 is this, but in with more than one variable. Do I do pre-calc? I do. In fact, I'm just going to be I'm going to be having another live soon where I'm going to be focusing on everything that's before calculus. Well, almost everything. Because you trust me, you don't want me going over live where it's like, okay, what comes after 9? Hey, Lynette, thank you for the heart me. How's it going? I'm doing okay in Calc 1 right now. Will I be okay in Calc 2? Yeah, I would, I would worry about Calc 1 right now. Don't worry about Calc 2 yet. Focus on what you're doing right now. Yeah, no problem. Are you going live tonight? Antiderivative tips. Okay. Yeah, so remember antiderivative is just the opposite of derivative. So but remember that you can mostly take the derivative of any function. Integrating is gonna be fun because you're not always going to be able to integrate back to a function. How's it going for you? Yeah, I just sat down to get ready to go live. Awesome. I'm doing well, Lynette. Um yeah, so everybody, I was going to mention this at the end, but go ahead and give Learning with Lynette a follow. She's really awesome with the abacus. She's about to go live, and I'm going to be and as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to be jumping into her live. So just the reversing of the derivative. It's a little more complicated than that, but that's a synopsis, yes. What's more important in math, memorizing or learning? Learning. Learning. Absolutely learning. Memorizing can only get you so far. Calc 1 is easier than trig, and Calc 2 fully mixes the two and more. Yeah, that's memorizing got me through Calc 1 and through three differential equations. And hey, if that's if that helps you, then go for it. I just find that learning the material is better than memorizing it, but that's just me. Cool. All right, let's go ahead and do our next example, and let me make sure that I actually have it right here. So, where can I go to up my algebra skills? So, there's another person on here that actually does really well with algebra. Yeah, Lynette. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you soon. Where can I? All right, back to your question, Jason. Where can I go to up my algebra skills? So, there's another person on here who I recommend who actually convinced me to join TikTok, and that is going to be ACG Math Tutoring. She's really good with algebra, so I highly recommend you give her a follow. Thank you, user, for the follow. Anyway, so let's go ahead and move on to our next problem. So, I'm going to go ahead and turn the page. Thank you, Madalasari, for the follow. Hey, what math lessons do I teach? Okay, so here is a list of everything that I tutor. So that is everything that I tutor. Thank you, King of Spray, for the follow. You're currently in AP Pre-Calc? Awesome. That's really cool, user. How's it going? If I had to start square one from math, will I be able to relearn the tools again? Absolutely. It might take a little bit, but yeah, absolutely you can. You're doing discrete math right now. Interesting. Thanks for the math. I'll see you on another live. Take care. Yeah, have a good night, King of Spray. What college did I go to? So I went to a small Catholic school in Maine called St. Joseph's. But yeah, why is computer science major just a glorified math degree? I'm not sure. I don't actually know that. I haven't I don't have a computer science major, nor do I have a degree in computer science, so I'm not sure. But I don't think it's a glorified math degree. I think there's a ton of things that's worth studying in computer science. Anyway, back to this. So, f of x is equal to x cubed minus 9x squared plus 24x minus 18. And my interval is from 2 to 4. How long will it take somebody to get to topology math? So, I actually never studied topology because my school didn't offer topology. Um, I have heard of students taking it in undergrad, but I've also seen students taking it in graduate school, so it really depends. Yeah, no problem. Okay, so first things first. Is this a continuous function? Is this continuous? Can you give us a study routine if you are back in school, what you recommend? Yeah, so when it comes to studying, I found that for me personally, and what works for me might not work for you, but what work if I could go back and um if I were studying for a class again, I would not do the long, like, 3 hour cram session. Instead, what I would do is I would take breaks in between my studying. So there's this thing called the law of diminishing returns, and basically what that means that is that at some point, if you're studying, you're gonna not you're the longer you study, the less you retain over time. So what I would do is I would do 20 minutes of studying, 10-minute break, 20 minutes studying, 10-minute break, and so on and so on until. Is that supposed to be 24x? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Let me 24x minus 18. There we go. Thank you, Joy, for noticing that. Okay, so is this a continuous function? Thank you, Harf, for the follow. Joy says yes. Do we have agreement? Jason says yes. Yeah, it is continuous. So continuous So is f of x continuous? On AB? Yes, it is. Is f of x differentiable? On AB? On the open interval AB? Would I always be able to draw a tangent line in that function, in that interval? Yeah, absolutely I would. So we can check that off. So now I'm going to make sure that we do this math right this time. So f prime of c is going to equal f of 4. F of 4 minus f of 2 all over 4 minus 2. Okay, let's f of 2 is equal to 2 cubed minus 9 times 2 squared plus 24 times 2 minus 18. If this is true, what would this equal? What would this equal? 2 cubed gives me 8. No, this should be 2 squared, not 2 to the 4th. Why did I write 2 to the 4th? 2 squared is 4, minus 9 is 36, or times negative 9 is negative 36. 24 times 2 gives me 48, minus 18. What does that equal? Thank you, Kay, for the heart me. All right. We have 2 as an answer. Unfortunately, I don't know how to pronounce that, so let's see if you're right. So I have K says negative 2. Okay. So I have 8. It looks like we're having a. We think it's 2, but we're just deciding whether it's positive or negative. So let's see. 8 minus 36, that's negative 28. Negative 28 plus 48 is 20. 20 minus 18 is 2. So, just to verify, 8 minus 36 plus 48 minus 20 minus 18. Yep, I get positive 2. Cool. Now, f of 4. This is going to be 4 cubed minus 9 times 4 squared plus 24 times 4 minus 18. What is 4 cubed? That's right, it's going to be 64. So I have 64 minus 9 times 4 squared. 4 squared is 16, and 16 times 9 is going to give me 144. It's going to be negative 144 plus 24 times 4. 4 times 4 is 6, carry a 1. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Minus 18. Now, what does this equal? What would this equal? That's right, Jordan. It will be negative 2. 64 minus 144 is negative 80. Negative 80 plus 96 is 16. 16 minus 18 is negative 2. Right, so I have my f of 4, and I have my f of 2. So now I have everything I need to plug into that formula. So I have f prime of c is equal to f of 4, which is negative 2, minus 2 all over 4 minus 2. What would f prime of c equal? Well, negative 2 minus 2 is negative 4, and 4 minus 2 is 2. That would be negative 2. That's right. That is absolutely right, Joy. So, now I want to take the derivative of that function. So, I need to use power rule to help me find the derivative. So, we have derivative of x cubed. So I take my exponent, move it out front, multiply by 1, so that's 3, times x, so 3 minus 1, which is 2. And then I have negative 9x squared. Derivative of 9x squared, take the 2, multiply it by negative 9, so that's going to be negative 18, times x to 2 minus 1, which is 1. And then I take my 24x, take the derivative of that, so that's going to be x to the first. 1 times 24 is 24. And x to the 1 minus 1 is x to the 0. And x to the 0 equals 1. So, this is going to be plus 24. As for this negative 18, because there's no variable with it, it's a constant. And so the derivative of that constant is going to be 0. So now, I have everything I need. So I'm going to plug negative 2 in here. Thank you, Mikhail, for the follow. So I have negative 2 is equal to 3x squared minus 18x plus 24. Now if I add 2 to both sides, I can set that equal to 0. 3x squared minus 18x plus 24. Cool. So now it is, so, oh, this should be a 26, not 24, 26. There we go. So here, I'm going to use the Pythagorean, no, not the Pythagorean, the quadratic formula to find x. So I have, remember the quadratic formula? Quadratic formula says x is equal to negative b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So, my b, so this is a, that's b, and that is c. So, b is negative 18, so I have x equals negative 18, so that's 18, plus minus the square root of negative 18 all squared minus 4 times 26 times 3 all over 2 times a, which is 3. 2 times 3. So now we simplify. So so I have negative 18 all squared. 18 squared is going to be what? 324? Yes. So I have x is equal to 18 plus minus the square root of negative 18 squared is 324, or negative 18 all squared is 324, minus 4 times 26 times 3. So 4 times 26, so that's going to be what? 4 carry over 1 is 96. No, 94. No, 104. 6 times 4 is 24. Carry over 2. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 104. 104 times 3 gives me 312. Right? Yep. All over 2 times 3, which is 6. 324 minus 312 is going to give me 12. So we know that we're going to have two real solutions. So I have 18 plus minus the square root of 12 all over 6. Now, can I break down that? Can I simplify root 12? Yeah, I can. And yes, it would simplify. So this is going to become 2 root 3. Exactly, Joe. That's right. Why? Because 12, as Joyce said, 18 plus minus the root of 4 times 3 over 6. And if I have a product inside a square root, it means I can split this up into the product of two square roots. This is going to be x equals 18 plus minus the square root of 4 times the square root of 3 all over 6. And then square root of 4, so square root of 4 is 2. Well, plus or minus 2, but we already have that accounted for with this plus minus. So we have 18 plus minus 2 root 3 all over 6. So from here, and of course, as I'm solving a puzzle, as I'm solving a problem, the puzzle piece shows up. So now I can simplify this. How? I can factor out 2 out of here and here. So I'm going to have x equals 2 times what? Times the quantity 9 plus or minus root 3 over 6. Well, 6 I can also write as the product of 2 times 3. So we can say bye to that 2. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. So my answer is x equals 9 plus minus root 3 over 3. So if I really wanted to write that as, I could stop here, or I could split this up. So I could write this as x equals 9 plus root 3 over 3, or x equals 9 minus, not plus, minus root 3 over 3. Thank you, Blackmail, for the follow. Yeah, we're not going to, nope, that's not allowed. We're not going to do that. Nope, we're not doing that. So yeah, any questions on that? Personally, I would stop here. Thank you, Joy, for the follow. Is this Algebra 2? Nope, this is Calculus. We do use Algebra 2, though. So yeah, we'll do 1 or 2 more, and then we'll call it a night. So, let's go ahead. What was the function where you did the derivative? The original function was up here. Well, so that's where the function came from, where I did the derivative. So yeah. So let's go ahead and make this the final problem. So, final problem. So let's see. There are 8 of us in here. Let's see if we can't get to 5K likes before a final problem. Hopefully everyone's having a good evening this evening, or for me, actually, a good night. or good morning here on the East Coast. No, not final problem. I'm gonna do this live again. I don't know why. I'm just feeling a little off tonight for some reason. But I'll do it. I'll do another one of these. Are you a school teacher? I used to be. I'm not anymore. I haven't taught in the classroom in about, it'll be 8 years next year. But I tutor. I just found that the classroom wasn't for me. That's okay. Do a differential equation problem. We are a little ways away from that. Can you go over how to graph the parent function from derivative graph? Yeah, so we're actually, it's funny that you mentioned that because I think I actually have that on my list of topics for this week. So I'm going to take this and move everything down one day. So we're doing that on Monday. Or I might do 2 lives sometime between now and Sunday. I'm not sure yet. And for that one, I'm going to need my for that live, I'm going to need my graph paper. Thank you, Light Sheila, for the follow. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and do the final problem. And I'll probably do a part 2 to this. Or I might do this live again as well. So I have y, or f of x. Thank you for the math. You're welcome, Light Sheila. You're welcome for what you're happy to help. Do I have a thing there or purely TikTok? I actually do have something over there. This is it over there. If you want, you can go ahead and take a screenshot if you wish. Yeah, no problem. No problem at all, Miles. Alright, so I have x squared minus 9 over 3x on the interval from 1 to 4. Okay, first question. Is this continuous along that interval? Is f of x continuous on the interval 1 to 4? Well, there's only one value of x that's going to cause division by 0, and that would be 0. But 0 is not in our interval, so it is continuous. And thank you, Flank Z, for the follow. And is f of x differentiable on the open interval? Do my test for me? Nope. Nope, I cannot do that. I can help you get ready for it, but I'm not going to take your test for you. Yeah, it is. It is. differentiable. Why? Because I can draw a tangent line everywhere on that interval, everywhere on the open interval. You're learning this exact method for your exam? Awesome, perfect timing. Wait, how do you do continuity? So continuity means that I can draw the function without ever lifting my pencil. So the only place where this is not continuous is at 0. Why? Because if I plug in 0 for x, I get what? 0 squared minus 9 is negative 9 over 3 times 0. So I have negative 9 over 0. Division by 0 isn't allowed. So it's not continuous there. However, 0 is not in the closed interval. Can you help me in calculus 2? I can't do definite integration. Sure. Feel free to DM me and we can if it's a certain problem I can help you with that, or if you want tutoring, feel free to DM me and we can set up a consultation. Oh, so you don't have to simplify the numerator first? No. At least I'm not going to for this equation. Because we're not asked to find x, we're just asked if it's continuous and differentiable, which it is. So now I'm going to plug in 1 for x, and I'm going to plug in 4 for x. So f of 1 is equal to 1 squared minus 9 over 3 times 1. Can you explain what continuous is? Sure. So continuity means that the y1 and 4, because that's our interval, because that's the interval that's given. But back to the question on continuity. So remember that continuity is just simply this. Do I have to lift my pencil to draw the function? If I don't, then the function is continuous. If I do, then the function is discontinuous. So here, I have 1 squared minus 9. 1 squared is 1. 1 minus 9 is negative 8. And 3 times 1 is 3. And then I have f of 4 is equal to 4 squared minus 9 over 3 times 4. What would that equal? I'm in single variable calc. I think it's calc 1. Can I pay you to... Absolutely. Feel free, if you want, Carson, feel free to send me a DM and we can schedule a consultation. Thank you, Carson, for the follow. Drew says 7 over 12. Right. So 4 squared is 16, and 16 minus 9 is 7. And 3 times 4 is 12. IVT? Nope, this is mean value theorem. So now, I'm going to go ahead and plug in to a formula. So I have f prime of c is equal to f of 4, which is 7 over 12, minus negative 8 over 3. So that's going to be plus 8 thirds, all over 4 minus 1. Remember, in order to add or subtract fractions, I need to have a common denominator. What is my common denominator going to be between 3 and 12? That's right, Joyd. It's going to be 12. No, not quite, because 12 doesn't go into 6. So when we look for a common denominator, we're looking for a number that both denominators go into evenly. So this is going to be 7 over 12 remains the same. Plus, I had to multiply the bottom by 4 to get 12. 8 times 4 gives me 32 over 4 minus 1, which is 3. 7 over 12 plus 32 over 12. That's going to give me 39 over 12. All over 3. So now I'm going to go ahead and simplify that using keep, change, flip. So I have 39 over 12 times 1/3. So I'm going to go ahead and simplify this. So 39 and 3. 39 divided by 3 is 13. Using what? I'm not quite sure what you mean, Scott. 13 times 1 is 13. And 12 times 1 is 12. So this is going to be the value I plug in here. Now I need to take the derivative of this. Thank you, Z. Ronald McDonald, for the follow. That's right. Thank you, Z, for the follow. So now I need to take the derivative of this. So I'm going to use quotient rule. So remember what quotient rule says. Quotient rule says that if I have a function divided by another function, its derivative is going to be the derivative of the top times the bottom minus the derivative of the bottom times the top all over the bottom squared. Don't memorize that though. Memorize the chant. Low d high minus high d low all over the square of what's below. Or at least that's the chant that I use. If there's a chant that works better than you, or better for you rather, then go for it. But that's yeah. So now I'm gonna let g of x equal x squared minus 9. G prime of x is gonna go there, and h of x is gonna equal 3x, and h prime of x goes here. What is the derivative of x squared minus 9? Scott says 2x. Joyce says 2x. Splash says 2x. Yeah, that's exactly right. Take the exponent, move it out front. So that's going to be 2x to 2 minus 1, which is 2. I mean, 2 minus 1 is 1. And then the derivative of negative 9 is 0. Why did the negative 8 turn positive in f of c? Sure, so here, so if we remember the mean value theorem, it says that f prime of c is equal to f of b minus f of a all over b minus a. So when I subtract a negative, it's the same as if I'm adding. And then what's the derivative of 3x? Splash says 3, Joyce says 3. Yeah, that's absolutely right. So the derivative of 3x is just 3. So now I have everything I need to use power rule, quotient rule. So I have f prime of x is equal. I hope I gave myself enough room. Here we go. So I have so I'm going to link my functions together. So I have low d high. That's going to be 3x times 2x is 6x squared. Minus high d low. So I have 3 times x squared minus 9. All over the bottom squared. So that's going to be 3x all squared. So from here, I'm going to simplify. I can distribute that negative 3. So I have f prime of x is equal to 6x minus 3x squared. It's going to give me a 3x squared. Plus minus 3 times minus 9 gives me plus 27. All over 3 over, sorry, that's not 3. That would be 9x squared. from here, I can factor out a 3 on the top. F prime x is equal to 3 times x squared plus 9 all over 9x squared. We can say bye to that 3. That becomes a 3. So f prime x is equal to x squared plus 9 all over x squared. So now I'm going to set this equal to 13 over 12. So 13 over 12 is going to equal x squared plus 9 all over x squared. Now, how come not cancel? How can you not cancel the 9 into parentheses? Nope. Why? Because I have an addition sign here. In order for me to be able to cancel a 9, I'd have to have 9 in both terms. So now I have a proportion, which means I'm going to go ahead, cross multiply. And what happened to the 6x squared? 6x, so when I distributed this, it became 6x squared minus 3x squared plus 27 over 9x, all over 9x squared. Because I have the same variable and the same exponent on two terms, I can combine those like terms. So that's how I got from here to here. So now I have 13x squared is equal to 12 times x squared is 12x squared. And then 12 times 9 gives me plus 108. No, that's not right either. Oh, this should be 3x squared. 3x squared, so this is not 13, this is 39. So, perfect. Alright, so now I'm going to subtract 12x squared from both sides. 12x squared from both sides. So if this goes away, we can say bye to that. So I have 39x squared minus 12x squared is 27x squared equals 108. Now, I'm going to divide both sides by 27. Unfortunately, I couldn't stay in the bubble, but I'll go a little outside. 27 goes bye, so that's x squared. Equals, what is 108 divided by 27? Hey Bones, we are talking about mean value theorem. I think calc is mostly about organization. It does play a part, yes. Oh, by the way, Bones, was the answer to that question you sent me correct? Flash says 4, Joyt says 4. Yeah. So x squared is equal to 4. So my final step, take the square root of both sides. X equals, square root of x is plus or minus 2. However, look at our interval. If my interval is between 1 and 4, what will x equal? Final question of the night. That's right, Joyt. The answer is 2. Not 2 billion, Andrew. Yeah, answer is 2. You are learning, Splash. That's all. You are indeed. Congratulations. Cool. So with that, I'm going to go ahead. Thank you, Brenda, for the follow. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. But before we do, I have a couple things I'd like to I'd like to show you. So, let me go ahead and flip that over. So, thank you, SE, for the follow. So, you can follow me here on this channel. And here is the set of all the things you should do when you get there. And then you can follow me on TikTok at Robert the AP Math Guy. Are you planning on doing plane or space curves and finding T, N, and K soon? Have that on a test soon. I don't think I'm gonna get there probably before, at the very least, maybe December. I'm not sure though. And then here are a couple other people that I highly recommend you follow. First is ACG Math Tutoring. So she's really good at getting people ready for their ASVAB, their Accuplacer, their GED, their TEAS test. Also, if you need a refresher on algebra and geometry, it does say TalkTick, but I thought it looked kind of cool. So yeah, algebra. She's also really good at reviewing algebra and geometry for those of you who are needing some review of algebra and geometry. And then I recommend that you also follow Learning with Lynette. She's live right now. So as soon as I am done here, I'm going to go ahead and jump into her live. So if you join me and if you jump into her live as well, tell her I sent you. And then, as I said before, I do offer math tutoring, online tutoring. So I offer group tutoring and I also offer one-on-one tutoring. So for group tutoring, I offer it to groups of 3 to 10 students who are all taking the same class at the same time. Now that doesn't mean that you have to be taking it at the same school with the same teacher, but you do have to be taking the same class. So if you and 4 of your friends are all taking differential equations, then you can sign up for group tutoring. And for this school year, the 2025-26 school year, I'm charging $35 per hour per person for that. And then I also offer one-on-one math tutoring as well. And those rates are dependent on how often you want tutoring, how often you'd like to meet for tutoring, so, and how long each tutoring session is. So, if you are interested in either group tutoring or one-on-one tutoring, then feel free to DM me here on TikTok and we can schedule a free consultation. Will you be live tomorrow or not until Monday? I will be live tomorrow. Yep, I try to go live every day. And then here are all the subjects that I currently tutor. So yeah. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. Thank you, Bones, for the subscription. Nice. And what is the live you said we should check out after this? So I'm going to be jumping into Learning with Lynette's live. So that's the live that you should check out after this. And again, if you do jump into her live, tell her I sent you. Cool. So yeah, with that, no problem, Splash. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. Have a great rest of your evening, everyone. And I will see you tomorrow when we talk about... What are we talking about? We're going to talk about extreme value theorem. Can you go over Calc 2? So Calc 2, I'm actually going to be starting in about the next couple weeks. So we're almost done Calc 1. And as soon as we're done with that, we'll jump right into Calc 2. You're taking Calc 2 as well? Awesome. So yeah, we're gonna be jumping into Calc 2 in the next couple weeks. What time tomorrow? So I go live every night at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. So it's actually today for me because over here on the East Coast it's 1:15. Do you need college algebra for calc? Yes, you would need algebra for calc. Um, I'm not as familiar with the with what the college algebra class is, but I would assume yes. So yeah. So with that, have a great rest of your night, everyone. I'm gonna jump into Learning with Lynette's live, and if I see you there, I will. If I see you there, feel free to say hi. Otherwise, thank you, Grandes, for the follow. Otherwise, have a great rest of your night, and I will see you all at 11:30 p.m. tomorrow, Eastern. Bye, everyone. Just 5 minutes away from my next reward. All right, I'll stay on for 5 more minutes. All right, so this is the part of the live where I will answer any questions for the next 4 minutes. I'm probably not going to get into any new problems, but feel free to ask any questions that I can answer in the next 3 minutes. Next 3 to 5 minutes. And that are within reason. What's something I can start doing to prepare for Calc 1? That's a good question. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about your algebra and your trig skills? Eight out of 10 algebra, 9 out of 10 trig. Okay, cool. So the big thing about algebra and the thing about calculus, especially Calc 1, is that in order to succeed, you're going to want to have a good grasp of your algebra and trig skills. Because I keep on hearing it said, and I believe this to be true, that the hardest part of calculus isn't the calculus. The hardest part of calculus is algebra. And a lot of people tend to sometimes forget their algebra when they're solving problems. I I ran into a problem earlier tonight where it's like, why am I getting this wrong? Toughest class on this list, in your opinion? Need to take differential equations and linear. For me, differential equations was harder than linear algebra. Of course, I never took linear algebra in college, so I had to self-teach it. But even then I thought differential equations was more difficult. That's me personally. Some people think linear algebra is more difficult, but for me it was differential equations. Trig over algebra is important going into Calc BC. The algebra gaps can get picked up for exams. Yeah, but you're going to want to have a solid knowledge of both anyway, right? Because even though you might be able to pick up the algebra gaps, trust me, you're still going to run into problems where if your algebra is not solid, then it's going to be yeah, more difficult. No problem. Don't worry. Don't worry about that, Fizz. I think equations is harder minus maybe eigen stuff in linear. Yep, I could see that. But eigenvectors and eigenvalues are covered in both. Cool. All right, so let's see. I've reached my reward. Yes, I have. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and call it a night, everyone. Have a great rest of your evening, and I will see you all tomorrow at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Bye, everyone. Thank you, Fizz, for the follow. Have a good night, everyone.